Join us at the Pahrump Nugget Hotel and Casino with the #1 gaming experience and entertainment. The Pahrump Nugget has the #1 dining experience at Stockman Steakhouse, Golden Harvest Cafe, and the Gold Miners Buffet. Come get your game on at the Pahrump Nugget Hotel and Casino.
News 46 is brought to you by Comfort Hospice Care, where we give our patients and their loved ones peace of mind, knowing we provide the highest quality of care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For more information, call 775-751-0349. You're watching KPVM News 46. Week in Review with Deanna O'Donnell. And Jason Koblenz.
And welcome to News 46's Week in Review, your #1 choice for local news. I'm Deanna O'Donnell. Jason Koblenz is off tonight. The federal government filed 2 charges against the surviving Boston Marathon bombing suspect on Monday. The charges against Johar Tsarnaev could result in the death penalty if he's convicted. 19-year-old Tsarnaev was charged with 1 count of using and conspiring to use a weapon of mass destruction resulting in death, and 1 count of malicious destruction of property by means of an explosive device resulting in death. Tsarnaev made his first initial appearance before Magistrate Judge Marilyn B. Bowler in his hospital room at Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital in Boston. A public defender was appointed to represent him. A probable cause hearing has been scheduled for May 30th in U.S. District Court. Despite being seriously wounded and heavily sedated, Tsarnaev is answering brief questions from his hospital bed by nodding his head. Authorities are asking the 19-year-old if there were any more bombs, explosive cache, or weapons, and if anyone else was involved. Investigators are going to Tsarnaev's room every few hours to ask questions in presence of the doctors. Tsarnaev, who's on a ventilator and restrained, has also been hospitalized since authorities took him into custody Friday night after finding him hiding in the boat at the backyard of a Watertown, Massachusetts home. His injuries include a wound to the lower half of his body and a neck wound that authorities believe that he inflicted upon himself. Investigators believe that Johar Tsarnaev and his brother Timerian Tsarnaev were behind the attacks near the marathon's finish line that killed 3 people and wounded more than 170 others 1 week ago. Timerian Tsarnaev, who is 26 years old, died early Friday at a hospital after a shootout with police. Investigators are also speaking to Timerian Tsarnaev's wife, Catherine Russell, to see what she might know about the incidents leading up to the bombings. Timerian and his wife, Catherine Russell, also have a 2-year-old daughter together. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. And a week after the marathon bombings, 50 people remain hospitalized, including 2 in critical condition. At least a dozen survivors have endured amputations. And more on that story, the surviving marathon bombing suspect was transferred to a federal medical detention facility on Friday. Johar Tsarnaev left Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center overnight and was taken to the Federal Medical Center, Devens, about 40 miles west of Boston. The facility on the decommissioned Fort Devens U.S. Army base treats federal prisoners and detainees who require specialized long-term medical or mental health care. The 19-year-old Tsarnaev is recovering from a gunshot wound to the throat and other injuries suffered during his attempted getaway. The transfer comes a day after it was revealed that Tsarnaev and his brother had planned to go to the Times Square in New York City and blow up the rest of their explosives. They portrayed a spur-of-the-moment scheme that fell apart when the brothers realized that the car they had hijacked was low on gas. In their stolen sport utility vehicle, they had 5 pipe bombs and a pressure cooker explosive like the ones that blew up at the marathon. New York City was next on their list of targets. The plan fell apart when the brothers got into a shootout just outside Boston that left Timerian Tsarnaev dead, and Johar Tsarnaev is charged with carrying out the Boston Marathon bombing that killed 3 people and wounded more than 260. He could face the death penalty. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. Joseph Anderson has been sentenced to a maximum of 20 years in prison for causing a fatal 3-vehicle accident on Highway 160 and Mesquite in 2011 while driving under the influence of marijuana. Anderson appeared in district court this week to be sentenced on a charge of driving under the influence of a controlled substance, thereby causing death to another, after he was found to be at fault for a collision which took the life of 53-year-old Lonnie Scott right before the annual Fall Festival parade was to begin in 2011. Scott and his wife were on their way to the parade when the accident occurred. Nevada Highway Patrol stated that Anderson was found to have been under the influence of marijuana on October 1st of 2011 when he failed to yield at the stop sign. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. 6 people have been taken into custody for drug-related crimes relating to a police chase. On Monday, April 22nd, Nye County Sheriff's Office General Assignment and Street Crime Detectives were conducting surveillance of Ron Hoover's residence, looking for an individual by the name of Robert Tabor, who led police on a high-speed chase through Pahrump. Detectives observed a vehicle approaching the Hoover residence. When the vehicle spotted the detective's vehicle, it apparently turned around and began traveling through the desert, according to the release. A second detective was able to get the vehicle stopped. The driver was identified as Ron Hoover. During the course of the traffic stop, Ron Hoover attempted to discard a package containing methamphetamine. Detectives recovered the methamphetamine as well as drug paraphernalia in the vehicle. Additionally, Hoover's license was revoked. Hoover was arrested and booked in the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center. Nye County Sheriff's Office detectives responded to Hoover's residence and made contact with a woman by the name of Dominique Collin. During that contact, detectives observed that Collin appeared to be under the influence of methamphetamine. She also made admissions relating to the use of a controlled substance, according to the release. She was arrested and booked into the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center. She also was booked on charges relating to a burglary that happened prior, and detectives have been looking for her in relation to that case. Detectives responded to Barbara Bell's residence to conduct an interview with her regarding another case. While there, detectives observed that Bell appeared to be under the influence of a controlled substance. Bell admitted to detectives, according to the release, that she had purchased $20 worth of methamphetamine from a person by the name of Seth Holdwick, and that he delivered it on a bicycle. She also told them that Holdwick lived with a person by the name of Lynn Barwell and Kenneth Lepke. Detectives responded to Lynn Barwell and Kenneth Lepke's residence and were able to arrest them for being under the influence of a controlled substance. They were also able to locate Seth Holdwick, and all were booked, including Barbara Bell, on being under the influence of a controlled substance and other charges relating to drug use and sale. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. 3 additional people have also been taken into custody following that police chase that has a total of 9 associated persons arrested for drug-related offenses. 3 more people have been arrested on drug-related charges. 6 people were arrested on April 22nd in 2 cases. The first arrest was a result of the Nye County Sheriff's Office investigators looking for a 25-year-old by the name of Robert Tabor, who took police on a car chase last week. On Tuesday, detectives with the Nye County Sheriff's Office were continuing their search for Tabor when they came across a person by the name of Tina Banks, who is 47 years old, Summer Tillery, who is 27, and Christopher Prine, who is 30. It was determined that all 3 were under the influence of a controlled substance, specifically methamphetamine. They were all arrested and booked into the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center. Robert Tabor is still at large, and anyone with information about Tabor's whereabouts is asked to contact the Nye County Sheriff's Office at 751-7000. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. And that wanted car chase suspect turned himself in on Friday to the Nye County Sheriff's Office. After days of attempting to locate an individual by the name of Robert Tabor, he surrendered himself to the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center Friday morning. He was wanted on charges stemming from a high-speed pursuit that took place last Thursday. According to the report, on April 18th, Nye County Sheriff's Office street crime detectives observed Robert Tabor operating a motor vehicle that had a suspended registration, and he was apparently driving with a revoked driver's license. They attempted to conduct a traffic stop, and Robert Tabor led the street crime detectives on a high-speed pursuit through the western part of Pahrump. During this pursuit, he endangered numerous individuals, according to the report, operating on the roadway, and additionally came in feet of hitting a pedestrian in Comstock Park. Detectives located Tabor's vehicle, and Robert Tabor had fled on foot, allegedly, to avoid capture. Nye County Sheriff's Office General Assignment and street crime detectives worked aggressively to locate Tabor, arresting numerous individuals found during the search who were apparently under the influence of methamphetamine. Tabor turned himself in once again on Friday morning and was booked in the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center. His bail is pending. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. More victims have reportedly come forward in the case of a well-known volunteer and two others who stand accused of sexually abusing a mentally disabled woman over a period of several years. 69-year-old Michael Allen Mack, 81-year-old Arthur Albert Gatsky, and 65-year-old George Caroja were arraigned last week for sexual abuse of a vulnerable person, among other charges, in the Pahrump Justice Court. Mack had allegedly admitted to the abuse that has been going on for approximately a decade and was also apparently aware that the victim had the mentality of a child. Deputy District Attorney Ross Armstrong has told the court last week that additional victims have come forward since this case was opened. The next court date is set for May 8th. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. An 81-year-old inmate at the Nye County Detention Center fell from the second tier inside the jail last week. Police are investigating the incident to see if it was an accident or attempt to take his life after being charged with sexual assault. Around 9:30 this morning, Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue were dispatched here to Surrey Lane at the Nye County Detention Center for an 81-year-old inmate who apparently fell from the second tier inside the facility. The inmate who either fell or deliberately leaped from the second floor of the detention center is 81-year-old Arthur Gatsky. Gatsky was arrested on April 9th for sexually assaulting a vulnerable person, along with 69-year-old Michael Mack and 65-year-old George Caroja. Gatsky was being held in the amount of $60,000 bail. According to Sheriff Tony DeMeo, the Nye County Sheriff's Office was informed that an inmate was lying on the floor bleeding from his head. The jail emergency response plan was put in place and medical crews were called to the scene. The inmate was transported to Desert View Hospital and later transported to a hospital in Las Vegas. The initial investigation revealed that the inmate rolled over a stairway railing and fell to the floor. The investigation is ongoing at this time. According to Fire Chief Scott Lewis, Mercy Air was unavailable at the time of the incident. Arthur Gatsky was the only inmate at the cell when the incident occurred. No others are suspected to be involved in the incident. News 46 asked Sheriff Tony DeMeo if Gatsky had been showing signs of depression in recent days. DeMeo stated that he could not comment on this ongoing investigation. Once again, Sheriff Tony DeMeo has said that this is still under investigation. He says that the inmate seems to have rolled from the stairwell of the facility. He was the only one actually in that cell. It is unclear right now if Arthur Gatsky actually did it on purpose or if this was in fact an accident. His condition is unknown at this time. This is Deanna O'Donnell at the Nye County Detention Center for News 46. And we'll have more news, including a local fitness center that was sold this past week when we return. Don't go anywhere.